Welcome back for another episode of Super Fun Game Review Podcast Go. Find us on Facebook.com/SuperFunPodcast, Twitter.com/SuperFunPodcast, Patreon.com/SuperFunPodcast, Instagram @SuperFunPodcastGo, iTunes @Superfun Game Review Podcast Go. Thanks and enjoy the show.
Welcome back for another episode of Super Fun Game Review Podcast Go! I'm your host tonight, Ralph. Lock me up, throw away the key. To my left, I have Clark.
Extra, health benefits of smoking. Read all about it.
True. In front of me, I have Mr. Harry.
Fuck you.
And to my right, I have the one, the only Steve.
You're more surprised than a slut dog with her first porcupine. Yup. I had to write that one down.
I don't remember that one.
I forget. What was the white guy in Mexico you end up
Oh, yeah, him.
I forget his
the
name.
Gringo.
Yeah, that was one of his quotes.
Anyway, if you can't tell, because these quotes are a little obscure, this is the Red Dead Redemption episode, and I'm really excited to talk about this, one of my favorite games ever. How many Westerns can you name that are this good? I can't think of any others on any console, come to think of it.
General Custer's Revenge.
No, that's Atari. No, we're not talking about Atari.
No.
We're not going there. That's offensive.
I'm edgy.
Gun.
Gunsmoke?
No, Gun.
Oh, Gun, the game Gun.
Yeah, the
that's
game
right.
Gun.
I didn't play that one.
It's not as good as Red Dead.
No.
Sunset Riders.
Oh. Yeah.
It's gonna get a better score.
Oh, God.
Me and Big keep him trouble.
Tonight's episode is dedicated to Eric Chavez, and he's Ari.
He's airy.
I did that.
He's airy.
Tonight's episode is dedicated to Eric Chavez, and Harry, I believe you have a quote for us.
I do. This is what he emailed into us. Hey guys, this is the first piece of media that I've decided to support on Patreon. I finally could not get enough of you guys that I had to have the bonus content. I'm on my third go around of all the episodes, which wow,
that's
awesome.
tremendous.
That is fantastic. Give him the BC.
no, we got the BC. Big cock.
Whoa. Bonus content, Harry. Bonus.
Oh,
content.
bonus. Got it. I just needed more.
Oh, no. He needs it all.
Start over.
Give that man all of it.
I found this podcast looking for reviews for The Last of Us a month later. By the way, fuck you, Clark. Best game ever.
Oh!
Hey, look, everyone's entitled to their own opinions and to be wrong.
And to be wrong.
I decided to browse through the episodes and came to the conclusion that this is the funniest and most well put together shit ever.
We try. Thank you.
It is a heaping pile of shit that we have molded into something.
So I went back to the beginning, and here I am now. You guys deserve so much more attention. Can't wait for that drunk review, and if I had to suggest a game for the poll, it would have to be Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic.
Yes.
Steve, you do you, boo-boo.
Oh, thank you.
Ralph, don't stop that Rambo voice.
No! That needs to die for Season 3.
It will never die.
My name is John Marsden. I'm here for redemption.
Harry, Bobby Cat, and Clark.
I love it.
That's
I love
awesome. Bobby Cat.
And Clark, my man, where's that toilet stream at? I love you guys. I love you guys, and I look forward to the future of this podcast.
We love you too, Eric.
Since a lot of people will probably not see my response to him, I said that I stream to the toilet all the time.
Oh, I see what you did there.
I piss!
Yeah.
I'm pissing the bowl! I'll pay!
A stream. Eric, thank you so much for your kind words. That really means a lot to us. Thank you so much.
Thanks, man.
Thanks, dude.
Makes it all worth it. All right, so let's move right into our initial impressions. Red Dead Redemption, go.
It took me a long time to actually play the game, to actually first play the game. I wanted to for a while, never got around to it, and then my friend had it, I borrowed it from him, and that's where it all began. So when this came to the table, I was very excited.
Cool. Clark.
So I'm actually one of the very few people that actually played Red Dead Revolver as well. So when they said there was going to be a spiritual successor to this, and they were going to be using the Grand Theft Auto 4 engine, it was the Grand Theft Auto
Rage engine, but I think Grand Theft Auto
the
4
Rage
had
engine
used
or whatever.
Rage, so
Yeah.
you're good.
I was fucking stoked. Red Dead Revolver is a great game too, and this just builds on that in so many good ways.
Harry?
I actually don't have too much background on this. This was one of those games I just totally missed. I saw a couple other people playing it, just didn't really have any interest. But here we are reviewing it for the podcast. You'll see what I think tonight.
Okay, so I have a question then, Harry. Before we continue, what's your favorite Western film?
Ooh, probably The Quick and the Dead. I love that movie.
Okay, I thought you were going to say I don't have one because you don't like Westerns, which is a complete answer. But okay, The Quick and the Dead.
He just trumped you, Ralph.
That movie has a lot of references to older stuff, and in some ways better stuff. Funny, that's Sam Raimi, just like Evil Dead and Spider-Man and all that fun stuff. Personally, for me, this is a game that I waited for it to arrive when I first heard of it.
Quick and the Dead was Leonardo DiCaprio?
Yeah.
Yep.
It's
And
basically
Sharon
just
Stone
first.
Was
and
that his
Russell
first
Crowe.
movie?
I don't think it was his first.
He was
but it
young
a
in
big
it,
one.
though.
Yeah, I
one of
thought
his first big
that
ones.
was before like Titanic and stuff like
It
that.
is before Titanic,
Okay.
but I don't think it's his first movie. I could
Is
be
it
wrong.
after
I could
What's
be
Eating
wrong.
Gilbert Grape?
It might be.
So I thought that was his first movie.
If you ever get the
maybe.
chance, if you haven't seen it, check it out. Fantastic
I
movie,
might
though.
have it on
It's just
Blu-ray.
like one big tournament shootout
Yeah.
throughout the whole
Yeah.
movie.
It's a good movie. I don't mean to sound negative. It's a good movie. I enjoy it. If it's on TV, I'll watch it. But I watch that movie and see the references within that movie. So I like Sergio Leone. I like old stuff. I like spaghetti westerns. So to see that, it's like a modern take, like just constantly playing homage, referencing like Once Upon a Time in the West and The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, and the other Dollars films. Like I sort of see it as that. So I don't want to say it's like the lesser of the pure faiths of westerns, but The Quick and the Dead is a good movie. I'll give you that.
I should have said my favorite Western is Back to the Future 3.
Wow, it's not that bad.
Just wow. It's a good movie.
That's
though.
fantastic.
I have a feeling we're gonna have this whole section talking about westerns with this game. It's just you
I'm
can't
gonna
separate
probably
them.
just talk about the game.
Oh, you
Not
are?
other
You
westerns.
sure? You
Yeah.
sure? Okay. All right. This is, for me, early on, I wasn't real big into like the development of a game or anticipating a game, and this is sort of after like magazines were dead at this point, like because when I was a kid I'd read like EGM and Game Pro and like get ready and hyped for a game. But for this, like Game Trailers was the website that I would go to all the time for information, and when they released a series of trailers for the game ahead of time, I found them to be really interesting and got sucked in with the hype. This is like the first game I ever pre-ordered, really. Like I didn't pre-order games before Red Dead. I got the special edition, played it, and just completely fell in love with everything. And then I like spiraled off and like started watching all of my favorite westerns, and like this whole summer was just like this weird. The summer of 2010 was like I just fell down a rabbit hole of westerns. I read The Gunslinger by Stephen King, the first novel.
Okay.
And I was watching Once Upon a Time in the West like every night to go to bed. Like it just like I got completely sucked in, and we'll get more into it, obviously, but
Is that why you're wearing cowboy boots and a cowboy hat?
yeah,
right now?
I want to
Yeah,
be
of
a
course.
cowboy, baby.
He's just listening to Kid Rock and
riding at night
And his
sleep
assless
all
chaps.
day.
Cowboy, baby.
I can smell a pig from a mile away.
now you drive a Mustang.
Whoa. Whoa.
Oh.
I just got meta.
I drove a Mustang in 2006, so
And now you drive a Mustang.
yeah, I did. Okay,
You bought another one though.
no, it's the same one.
Is it?
Anyway, let's move into game development.
Game development.
2010 game is made by Rockstar. It's the spiritual successor to Red Dead Revolver.
Yep.
Um,
Revolver was actually started by Capcom.
By who?
Capcom.
Oh, okay.
Capcom.
Yeah, Harry, could you just read this word in one of the notes right here, real quick?
Capcom.
They started, and then Take-Two actually acquired, I guess, Angel Studios. Were probably a version of, or they were under
A
the
virgin?
Capcom. Yeah, a
A
virgin.
virgin.
That-
They were a virgin when I first met him.
they were under Capcom, and when they acquired it, when they acquired Angel Studios, apparently the lead writer or designer was like, "Oh wow, look at this! Like look at how far they are. Okay, let's take this," and they continued from there to develop Revolver. Like Clark said, Revolver's a pretty fun game. I played it a little bit. I have it for the original Xbox, but it's more arcadey. There is no open world,
Right.
and it's I want to say a little more stylized.
Yeah, it's way more like mission based and actually action focused.
Yeah,
So they began the development in 2005.
correct. A 5-year
Yes.
time span until release.
Because it was May 2010. I think you said that.
I have May 18th.
Okay. I
2010.
remember reading that. Yes, correct.
And that I actually checked my receipt because I have the receipt inside the game sleeve, and that's when I got it.
Now, I think this post was a little outdated, but at the time of this release, it was the most expensive game to make ever.
$80 to $100 million, right?
Yes.
Right.
I don't know if anything has surpassed that since.
I think
Yeah.
so.
Yeah, I wouldn't
a
be
few.
surprised. Yeah.
It wouldn't surprise me if Final Fantasy 15 was more expensive.
Yeah, but so was like Grand Theft Auto 5. Like
Okay.
literally
Yeah,
their next game wasn't Grand Theft Auto 5 $500 million? I
Jesus.
think they put 500 million into
No
it.
fucking way. That's
Dude, do you know how much
might
that do you know how much that game's made?
They sold
insane.
they sold 90 million copies of it, and that's not including any of the
Yeah.
other stuff the other ways that they make money from the game.
Yeah, so 90 million at 60 a pop. Nuts.
Do the math.
Yeah.
The lead writer, his name is Dan Houser. He also wrote L.A. Noire, Max Payne 3, San Andreas, and a lot of other Rockstar titles, basically from PS2 on. You see his name all over these games.
I did read, so I know you mentioned spiritual successor to Red Dead Revolver. Really, all they brought from that game was the dead aim and the setting in the West. Everything else was pretty much scrapped from...
A little bit of the look of John Marston as well.
From Red, the main character of Revolver.
Yeah, he has the same double scar pattern on his cheek
Got
that Marston has, which I think is like why they call it a spiritual successor, because they're not the same character.
I read online somewhere that they were saying that Uncle might actually be Red, and that's why whenever you see Uncle, he's always wearing like one glove because Red hurts his hand. I think in the opening cutscene of Revolver.
Yeah. I there's like weird ties to it. I've seen like a video on that as well.
Yeah, it's just a theory. I mean, I'm not sure. I don't really put much stake in it because Uncle's just like, he just seems like such a waste of a person. I would hate that there'd be some kind of connection like that. Not to judge the poor guy. I mean, I guess he did defend the ranch in the end, but Uncle's kind of a waste of space. That's what he's there for comedic relief.
Sorry to interrupt. I just had to check it. So the most expensive game to just develop was Star Wars: The Old Republic, and that cost $200 million to develop.
Oh, a fully voiced MMO. That makes sense.
Yeah.
But if, because the way it's broken down here, if you also add marketing, it's actually Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2. They only spent $50 million. Well, I say that only, but they spent $50 million to develop it, and then $200 million on marketing.
Jesus.
Well, it worked, I guess.
Yeah. Remember
Yeah.
that fucking line at launch? Jesus. Because I did
Well,
a midnight
nuts.
release on that, and it was
I didn't.
wrapped around the fucking building.
How big was the building?
I was playing an hour before midnight.
Because you downloaded it.
Oh, yeah.
Were you playing on 360 by chance?
I was.
Oh, amazing.
Definitely not a modded system.
No, definitely not. Don't
You know
endorse
what? I'm not trying to get on a Call of Duty rant, but
Here we go.
so that it was the GameStop over in Royersford.
Oh, yeah.
In front of the Target, wrapped around the building. But I got home and there was so many people logging on at the same time.
Servers.
The servers crashed for like 5 hours. It was
It's
so
nuts.
so depressing.
Yeah, it was a pain in the ass.
Yeah.
Speaking of the costs, I did want to say that apparently Take-Two pulled in employees from other teams to make it a combined 800-person effort
Wow.
when they made Red Dead Redemption. So I guess that contributes to the budget right there.
Yep.
Classic westerns were used for inspiration. The official list shows like The Wild Bunch, High Plains Drifter, Unforgiven, John Wayne westerns, and personally, I think a lot of Sergio Leone, like Fistful of Dollars, For a Few Dollars More, The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, Once Upon a Time in the West, and countless other westerns were used to inspire the story and the little interactions. Specifically, the random encounters when you're riding and you see like a man, he's like, "Hey, they got my wife, help me!" and you follow him, and he or she's like on a horse with a rope around her neck, and there are 3 guys. You got it. Like that is a couple references, right? Like even The Quick and the Dead. That's how The Quick and the Dead has the main character's father is tied up that way, right? Where he's up by a noose around his neck.
Yes.
And she has to shoot the rope. That goes back to The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, and even to an extent, Once Upon a Time in the West. But if you guys haven't seen those movies, I'm just rambling here. Little references like that. If you're a fan of Western films, specifically good ones, no offense, you'll see that all over in this game.
Wow.
You like how I did that?
Try not to sound like a snob.
But I'm just going to say this here. This is your part where you want to talk about all the Western stuff and just.
I think that's it. I think.
Cool.
I mean, we'll get to the music and Ennio Morricone, which is The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. Even The Hateful Eight, which came out not that long ago.
The music for the game though?
No, he did not. But
I like
it's inspired.
Hateful Eight.
It's inspired by it. You do?
Yeah, Hateful Eight's great.
Yeah, that was a great movie.
Haven't seen that one yet.
No?
Cool.
No.
Make a point of seeing it.
Yes, sir.
I have the soundtrack on vinyl.
It's not surprising.
Last thing I wanted to talk about with development.
Yeah.
To wrap up my portion of this, they spent a lot of time on the mocap with horses specifically. Which makes sense. You spend a good deal of gameplay time on a horse in this game.
Yep.
So if they were to fudge up on the animation of that...
They look great, by the way. I think
no, they do.
amazing.
They do.
I read actually that they had difficulty with the motion capture little diodes like falling off
Yeah.
whenever they would try
Trot
to run.
and gallop.
Yeah.
Gallop.
Galop.
Gallop and
One other thing about the development is that the way that the map is supposed to represent different areas that you would see in like a developing nation or a province on the brink of war or an advanced nation. New Austin is supposed to represent like small towns. That's where Armadillo is, the first area of the game. Nuevo Paraiso, how would you guys say it?
How is it spelled?
Nuevo.
Well, that's Nuevo.
Nuevo
Which is new.
Paraiso.
Paraiso. New Paradise.
New Paradise. It has the rebel
Paraiso.
outposts and army forts. That's the one that's supposed to be like on the brink of war, which is pretty obvious. And
It's a
My
nice
map. I have a map.
yeah, Clark just pulled out his map of the world. It comes with the game. West Elizabeth, that's the last area you go to. That's further north. It's more civilized, and that's more of like an advanced nation.
Say it more like modernized.
More modernized, yeah.
type of town.
Blackwater.
All right, well, if nobody has anything else for development, let's move into the story.
Story.
Story. You're
So-
a cowboy.
The year is 1910. The Industrial Revolution is just beginning.
This just in.
The West has been settled.
The West is dying.
It's 1911.
I know, right?
And 1914?
Oh, snap.
Spoiler alert.
Not really. Game's been out for 8 years. If anybody listening right now doesn't know the ending to Red Dead Redemption, please stop the tape and go play it.
Stop the tape.
Stop the tape.
Pop out your cassette.
Turn to side B.
Marston's dead. Just get that out of the way.
That was your warning. You've been warned.
Yeah.
So the main focus of the story is the redemption of John Marsden and how he used to have a life of crime, used to run in Dutch Vanderland's gang, and now essentially the not FBI, because I guess it didn't exist yet,
Not yet.
has kidnapped his family and says, look, you're gonna hunt down the remaining members of your gang. Specifically, Bill Williamson is how it starts. And
Old Slick Willie.
Slick Willie. He's not that slick.
No.
We're going to hold your family until you do it. So do it or you go to jail or get shot or whatever the ultimatum is. And that's where you start. You start the game with a long cutscene that I actually really enjoy and I've watched several times just for fun, where you come in and you ride the train from New Austin, what was Blackwater, from Blackwater down to Armadillo and go from there.
Yeah, you get to listen to the racist old rich ladies and the creepy pastor with the girl.
They've lost their land, but they've gained access to heaven.
That's the greatest thing after dealing with the savages. It's like, damn,
Yeah,
Grandma.
if I remember right. Yeah, that was interesting. It definitely sets the tone. That
Yeah.
train ride.
Yeah, there's a lot of native hate. A lot of it. I even wrote it down in my book.
Though, interestingly, there are not a lot of Native Americans in the game.
No.
No, not really.
I was actually wondering that playing through. Like, I thought there was going to be some specific missions. I don't know, but
Sure.
really wasn't there. You just had the one guide for a couple missions.
Nastas?
Yeah.
Yes.
And then he gets shot in the face after like a mission and a half.
Yeah.
They were trying to focus on the relations between the Mexicans and the Americans at the time.
Oh, no, absolutely.
Right on the border.
Yeah.
No, it's very...
Well, there was even an interview with Hauser where he was saying that he didn't want to, or they couldn't comment on how much racism was actually happening back then. So that might have actually gone into the development, and they might have pulled it back a little bit.
Specifically with the language.
Yes.
Like, they could not use the common verbiage that people would in 1911 just because it's extremely offensive to modern ears. Yeah.
Well, look at Django Unchained. Quentin Tarantino fucking went for it, and they say the N-word 117 times.
I feel
in
like
that
he's
movie?
the only director that can get away with that.
But it's because he goes for it, and he's like blatantly not.
You just go for it.
Racist.
You just go for it,
And
man.
he's just like, look, I'm
You get an idea.
going to make this. People are going to be offended, but you have to understand, I'm doing it for this reason. That's it.
This is a bit of a tangent, but I do remember
Sorry.
reading. No, you're fine. Reading about how Leonardo DiCaprio struggled with the script,
Oh yeah.
and he was uncomfortable doing it until Samuel L. Jackson pulled him aside and said, "Look, man, this is just another Tuesday for us," or something like that. And from that point, he was okay, basically saying the N-word as it is in the script, and what have you.
I
and go from
did
there.
hear that as well.
Yeah.
Did you know? You don't have to get into
Did
it.
you
Let's-
know? Fun fact
I mean, if you really want a fun fact about that movie, I have one.
about how he cut himself?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Good.
Acted through it.
Yeah.
Did you know that, Harry?
What's that?
You know the scene where he like smashes his hand on the table, and
Starts to
and he
bleed.
breaks the glass, and he holds his hand up, and he's bleeding.
Then he rubs it all over the girl's face.
He's given the whole speech, like he caught Django.
Like around the time when he broke the skull
Yes.
and everything?
You know
Okay.
when he smashes his hand, and he's like bleeding, and rubs it on the girl's face, all his actual blood.
Oh, shit.
He was not supposed to. He was supposed to slam his hand on the table, and because they took 2 takes, someone had moved their glass, so he smashed his hand on a glass, was bleeding, and he was supposed to just touch her on the face, but really he just smeared his blood on her.
Well, I always wondered if, because I don't know if it's a continuous shot, I always wondered if the blood he smears on her face was actually his blood, because that's kind of like,
Well, yeah, okay,
that's up there in terms of disgusting and
maybe
not-
that like wasn't, I guess, but like the whole scene where he's standing there and he has his hand up after he smashes it, it's all one continuous scene. That's his blood.
he stays in character, he rolls with it. And I read that after they had cut that, I guess that version, that angle, that take, he got a standing ovation from the crew.
Yeah, and then he
I
went and
would
got,
too.
14 stitches in his hand or
Something
some
like
shit?
that.
Yeah.
Her reaction seems very natural when he rubs on his. So I always wondered, like, did he really go for that,
Yeah.
or did they say, okay, now that he's bleeding in the scene, let's amp it up and do this? And,
Right.
and- anyway,
Gonna have to look online for that one too.
back to Red Dead.
Yes.
So we start out in New Austin. Interestingly, I looked at the missions and I looked at sort of where you spend the most amount of time, just like in generalizing. It seems like the first chunk of the game is the biggest chunk. Then we go into Mexico, which is a little bit smaller. Then we go back to West Elizabeth, which is even smaller. And then you just have a handful of missions back at the ranch. Almost like the momentum, like they intended for the momentum to like build toward the end. And like it drives the story. Do you guys know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, for sure. New Austin is a vastly bigger than Mexico in this game.
So
And-
not only
and-
right,
yeah.
not only mission and story wise, but also physical in-game landscape.
Yeah, like landmass.
I kind of want to disagree real quick, and I'll explain why.
You feel like it drags the end?
No, I just felt like the Mexican part was the longest part, because the further you get into the game, the missions take longer and longer to do. Mm-hmm. I remember that first section of the game, I was banging out missions like every 5 minutes. But then it was like every 15 minutes by the time I got to Mexico, and I felt like I was in the Mexican territory more than anywhere else in the game.
I think I know why. Or this is just my theory. Did you use fast travel a lot or no?
Not too much, no.
Like you can build your campsite and you can travel to a waypoint for free?
I didn't realize that until like I had like maybe 15 missions left in
Got
the
it.
game.
Okay.
Oh.
So
You missed the prompt at the beging.
Yeah, I didn't.
you
I
can.
didn't
It's
see
easy
that.
to miss. I think
Yeah.
it's easy to miss.
A lot of them are, because you can press X through them. So if you're running and one of the prompts comes up, it'll just go away.
Wow. And I was doing that riding the horse, just constantly mashing X. So that makes sense.
The thing about Mexico that makes it seem longer or makes it longer when you're riding your horse specifically is it seemed to me like, okay, I'm going to do this mission at this spot. Now I'm going to ride all the way over here and do the mission. And when I'm done, I have to ride all the way back to get to do the next mission. So if you're just doing the missions like that and you're just riding your horse, it would expand how much time you're there. The Mexican portion of the game I beat in one day, like a Sunday. I was just like, oh, I'm going to play. And I was fast traveling and managed to get through all of Mexico basically in 4 or 5 hours.
I think there's less to do in Mexico.
Minigames, side activities. I feel like there's just less stuff to do. Okay. So, like, for me, I feel like my perception of the first act being the longest and biggest is because I would do 4 or 5 side activities by the time I rode to the next place, and I would do that again and again and again. And then I kind of feel like when you start to hit the second act, you're like, all right, well, so I'm here. I'm in an unknown area. It's not like the original like home destination. So you're kind of just like, going through it a lot quicker. And I didn't feel like there was a lot more to do in Mexico than there was in New Austin. Sure, okay. Is it like a gaming convention? Is sort of like, okay, New Austin, the first area is not a tutorial, but the first third of the game is where you're still learning the conventions of what's happening. You're still in the experimental, like I want to explore and just see what's out there phase. And then when you get to Mexico, like you said, when you get to Mexico, you're like, okay, I'm going to stick to the story. I'm going to do this.
Yeah, it's a little more streamlined, I feel like.
I just looking at the missions, I was like, oh, it is actually sort of structured that everything, you have less missions in each area as you go. Interesting. Steve, any comments?
I kind of agree, like, at least with you, where it does seem like it's pretty much just look at it as like a pyramid, but like, so you start with the big chunk down at the bottom, and then it just slowly starts to narrow in and focus towards that very final point. And
well, I look at it as an inverted pyramid.
Okay, you can go
everything's
down.
in the beginning, and then you taper down.
Why can't you start at the bottom and taper up?
Oh, Jesus.
This is the big argument.
Yeah, this is going to be the big
God
argument.
damn it,
it's
Steve.
not between Harry and the rest of the group. It's
Steve, you're wrong.
Everyone arguing semantics.
Fuck you, Ralph. I will shit in your notebook.
Please don't.
Okay.
I need it to live.
All right, I won't. It didn't really bother me because I would fast travel and with the horse.
It's a pyramid for Harry because when you take a shit,
Jesus Christ.
it's a pyramid of poop that you leave.
Fucking what?
I don't know.
You poop pyramids, apparently.
But at least story-wise, I like the way they really kind of built up the relationships with some of the characters and really went into it a little bit. I don't know, for a bit, like with the... What's that?
Bonnie McFarlane.
Oh, yeah. Exactly.
I love the relationship between her and
you wanted
John.
to McFarlane Bonnie?
Yeah.
Huh?
Or you wanted to Bonnie McFarlane?
No.
Oh.
I like their relationship where it's at, where she is just a competitive, independent woman that he has no interest in sleeping with.
Yeah.
That they're peers.
Platonic.
They're not, it's a platonic thing. You always like get the people that are like, oh, ship that or whatever. Like, nah, like I like her as a strong, independent Western woman, which is like not a thing that happened back then, and nearly as much as what is like portrayed.
As far as we know, right.
Yeah.
But I think they did a really good job at giving the characters some backstory and the range of the type of people that they used. Anything to even like when they had Irish, it's like because there still were some people who came from other countries, and that's just how they referred. There's, well, not necessarily Dutch. Then there was
Nigel
French.
West Dickens comes from Dickens.
Yeah. Well, it's like
the characters I sort of wanted to put into a whole like mini section here.
Did you?
Yeah, I think I did.
Oh, okay.
There was something I wanted to say about Bonnie McFarlane. Clark, since you brought up Bonnie McFarlane, I wanted to say that I do like his interactions with her and how the story starts, and you start there with her, and like you start indebted to her, and you have to pay back through working. You have to pay back the money.
Yeah.
And she's like, it costs $10, and he's like, oh, I'm sorry, ma'am.
15.
I'm sorry. Thank you. It cost $15 or whatever it was.
Fun fact: with inflation, that's like $365.
Nice. Did you actually check that, or are you pulling that out of your ass?
No, I actually checked it.
Cool. So it came towards the end of the game. Once you've reached Breacher's Hope and you're being a rancher again, I guess it's the last mission that you do that involves the McFarland Ranch, and there's just this little moment where John Marsden and Abigail on the wagon are leaving, and the camera of the cutscene just lingers on Bonnie, and she's like kicking the dirt, and she just takes like this extra minute watching them leave, and then she goes inside, or like someone walks by and says, "Howdy, ma'am," and then she just like stops and looks at that guy and like walks inside her house. It's just this very little moment, and it's like it said everything that you were wondering, or everything it needed to be done. It needed to be said without actually saying it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
it all came through.
like in a different timeline, they could have possibly like made something.
Well, in multiverse theory, they already have children, so you know.
What?
Yeah. In an alternate universe.
I mean, he's going down the wormhole.
Sure.
Yeah,
Come on,
sure.
Be careful, run, guys.
No, I'm just
Stay with me. Stay with me.
No, I'm
multiverse
talking
theory.
about like what's
Side note,
actually there.
I'm a
like-
big believer in multiverse theory. I think it makes sense.
I thought it was kind of neat where the Abigail and Bonnie pretty much like kicked it off like right off the bat.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
it's pretty much just by shitting on John, just like I feel like
Equally.
happens in real life. It's like, oh yeah, this. Oh, a girl who shits on him too. Yeah, okay. I feel like they tend to go together like that.
I like where she's Abigail's like, jealous, and then she's like, well, "So what's she like?" "I don't know, normal, I guess." Like they're like writing. He's like, "I don't know, she's normal."
Ears, eyes, nose.
Yeah, and then they're leaving, and she's like, "She's pretty, John," and yada yada.
Yeah, just like
funny.
you.
Except she wasn't a whore.
He's not being derogatory. He's speaking literally.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. He was also the son of a blind Scot and a prostitute.
You're right. His dad was Scottish, I think he says.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, he said it was blind Scot, and his mother was a prostitute. And Clark's
Sounds like a
throwing his-
song. I think there's a song in there somewhere. Okay, so let's talk about Bill Williamson, because he's the driving force of the initial story.
Bill grabbing pills.
Bill.
Bill Williamson's a dick. Bill. All right, so when you play the game again, and I'm going to say this here and now, I'm going to be constantly referencing my first playthrough in 2010 and this playthrough and perspective. It's just going to happen a million times.
Go ahead, Ralph.
Apology.
I'm
in
on
advance.
the edge of my seat.
No, you're not. You're on the edge of farting. What the fuck?
I'm waiting.
What are you waiting for? The fart?
You to continue. Sucks to be interrupted, doesn't it?
It does. It's very interesting to me the way John starts out by just directly riding there and calling Bill Williamson out. Bill Williamson out.
Pheasanton.
And he like half-heartedly pulls his gun, and they just shoot him down, and then that's it. And to me, I when I think of John Marsden, it's like, okay, he's like a Western badass. Like he doesn't have any problem pulling his gun faster than anybody else. Like what is this? And it's sort of like they're trying to, I guess, establish that he's out of practice or he hasn't been doing this for a long time. And even when you get into Mexico and you meet Landon Ricketts, he like gives you a mini tutorial on how to duel. And I just thought that seemed so late. Like John Marsden is a salty dog, okay? He's not like...
He's a sailor?
Yeah, he's not 15 years old. Like, he's been an outlaw for a long time. He should know that he can't go to a fort and pull his gun when there's 3 guys with rifles pinned on him. Like, what the fuck? And he should know how to do a duel. He doesn't need some ex-gunslinger to show him how to do it.
Maybe he just wanted a chance.
Maybe. I don't know.
I mean, he might have just felt in that position, and I probably would have felt the same way, that I'm going to get shot one way or the other. I might as well pull my gun and try to get somebody.
So you're saying that he went in with like a defeatist attitude? Like,
no, I'm just saying in the situation, he was probably a realist and is like, hey, I'm going to get shot. No matter what happens right now, I have 3 guns pointed at me and my gun is in my holster. That means you're going to get shot. I'm just saying, he probably thought he was going to get shot, so I might as well try to pull my gun.
So this is after he decided to just walk up and yell at the fort.
He might have thought that he could have actually talked.
Right.
Talked him into it. Yeah,
That didn't really work out.
No, it did not.
Let's talk Bill real quick.
Let's talk Bill, Harry.
He's an idiot.
Yeah.
Well, yes, he
idiot.
is, and he's a driving force behind a good chunk of this game. Before
About half, I'd say.
yeah, he's not a good villain. He's kind of weak. He's an idiot. Like,
True. Okay. He's not an equal to Marsden, is what you're saying.
not at
No,
all.
not at all.
And it's just, it didn't set the stakes very high early in the game, and it was like, well, this is going to be a ridiculous kind of plot for a bit.
Maybe if it started with Dutch and Dutch was amped up a little bit more, that would be better.
Earlier on, and then
Yeah.
Bill is just in between you.
Yeah, Dutch
getting
didn't come
Dutch.
into the picture until way late in
no.
the game.
Agreed.
Like, extremely late. And he was a worthy adversary. But everybody else was just like, well, you're just wasting my time. This is filler at this point.
Speaking
Yeah.
of wasting time,
He had to go after everybody.
No, I understand, but they could have made those segments quicker or...
But here's the thing. Would you have rather gone after the main bad guy and gone after him again and again and again? I feel like if I think it's actually truer to real life in the fact that, like, you're probably not going to go after someone a ton of fucking times until there's a resolution one of you is dead.
you're going to work your way up to it, is what you're saying.
No, what I'm saying is that if we would have went after Dutch right at the beginning, we don't have Dutch at the end of the game. There's no build up, so you take Dutch out and then you just take all the other fucking weaklings out.
Not even so much taking out Dutch first, but at least introducing Dutch to the game.
Huge missed
earlier.
opportunity. The backstory he talks about where they left him for dead. Maybe they should have opened up with the scene where Dutch left him to die. Boom. Now you have the character in your mind. You see this really dark scene that like shows why John took a turn in his personal life. Mm-hmm. It just... They started off on the wrong foot with me.
I really like what you're saying. And what's funny is, if you haven't played Grand Theft Auto 5, you'd know that that's how that game starts, actually. That game starts with a heist that goes wrong that sets the tone for the whole game.
Yep.
Yeah, I can definitely see how that would have been... That's a missed opportunity, that we didn't have that establishing Dutch and everything. Now, what's funny is the sequel is a prequel, and we're going to get that most likely anyway. So if you played them in chronological order, it'll make sense. Or that
Right.
will probably happen.
2 and then 1.
Correct. What I wanted to say was maybe not have Dutch be the guy to go through in the very beginning, but almost to take a page out of Tom Clancy Ghost Recon Wildlands. In that game, you go after sort of like captains, and then you work your way up to the main villain. So maybe not have it, where is Javier Escuela? Where is Javier Escuela? Over and over and over, and everybody's just like, oh, do this thing first, and then we'll tell you, and do this, and then we'll tell you. And like, nobody has the information. Nobody knows where Bill Williamson is for like half the game. Instead of doing that, just have more members of the gang.
Yeah.
Have there be 5 members of the gang instead of 2.
Yeah. Or maybe like a big wanted poster that opens up on the opening scene. You could see all the characters that you're going at. I don't know, something like that.
Well, there's
Yeah.
3 and there's 5 in the game. Gang members in the game.
Okay, hold on.
Escuela.
Escuela,
Bill
Williamson.
Williamson.
Bill Williamson,
Bill
Bill
Williamson.
Dutch,
Dutch.
and John.
Marston.
And who's the...
His
and
wife.
Uncle. Uncle counts too, I guess.
Was Uncle part of the gang?
Uncle's in the screenshots for 2. Red Dead 2.
Oh.
So
that's
technically,
interesting.
yeah, Uncle and Abigail.
Yeah. So that's a bulk of the gang. I think that's all that's alive.
The final boss is Abigail Marston.
Well, no, I'm just saying. I
Son
think
of a
that's
bitch.
all that's alive at the time.
We'll find out.
I didn't know she was a part of the gang. I thought she was just...
No, she's part
We
of the gang.
all had her, John. She was any man's woman.
Yeah, that's
But
right.
you married her. That's my Dutch Vanderlyn impersonation. Needs work.
I thought it was right here.
Can I build off of the Bill thing?
Yeah.
I'll just go on my little rant.
Please do.
For a little bit. So my issue with the general story of the game is it was too light. Like the tone was too light for a good portion of the game. It didn't really take a dark turn until near the end, I guess, when Dutch came into the picture. So
Okay.
you have this like goofy villain for a good chunk of the game. There's so much like random like funny banter between characters. Like I felt like the game was too lighthearted for what I wanted out of this game. And then they took that dark turn maybe last 5 missions of the game or so.
It's interesting you say that. It makes me think of the first portion of the game where you have Nigel West Dickens, who's basically comedic relief.
He was annoying. Annoying fucking character.
I'm not going to argue against that. You have Seth, who's comedic relief, like the crazy gold digging necrophile.
The grave digger.
That was a little
Yeah.
pushing the boundaries a little bit there.
Oh yeah.
Oh, it's Rockstar. That's what they do.
Yeah. Don't say what I'm going to say when I'm going to say it. Okay. You got that?
You fucking told.
Guys, Clark's turning red. So you also then have Irish, who I thought was just annoying, but I feel like he's kind of there for community. Like, these are all caricatures of characters, right? We don't really get... I don't want to say Dutch is the only real character with some depth, but he's one of the better characters with depth.
Yes.
Yeah.
A lot of the characters are a little flat, in my opinion. I think Bonnie was a well-fleshed-out character. I think Dutch was a well-fleshed-out character. But a lot of the mission-giving characters throughout the game, I was like, okay, I'm done with you. I'm done with you. I'm done with you. It just... Even the
DeSanta?
Yes. It was a caricature of fucking Tony Montana.
Okay.
Like the first interaction you have with him, I was like, Jesus, we're getting ready to fucking sell some coke.
Get the Yale.
Oh, you did get this expansion.
Paid DLC.
I did like your interactions with the marshal. I feel
thank you.
like
I liked Marshall.
I feel like you got a little bit of like who he was out of it, not so much where it's like some of the characters like down in Mexico.
Johnson, right? Lee Johnson is the marshal.
Was he the sheriff?
Yeah.
I liked him.
Yeah.
I did like him as a character.
And his band of idiots.
But a lot of these characters, once you do their 4 or 5 missions, you don't see them ever again.
That's it.
That's like the Grand Theft Auto formula.
That's true.
But they could have jumped around, introduce all these characters, and then...
Well, that's the thing. It depends on how you play the game. You can space all of those characters out. You don't have to. There's a point where you can go back and do one Bonnie mission, then a Marshall mission, then a Bonnie mission, and then a West Dickens mission after you're done Marshall.
That's
and then
true.
You're bouncing back and forth.
I felt like most of the time it was 2 characters unlocked at a time, and then to progress on to the next section, you had to complete those 2 characters, and it opens up 2 new ones. Like,
Pretty much.
I think they could have jumped, and maybe to break up Mexico a little bit, boom, a Bonnie mission pops up halfway through the game or something. I that didn't happen for me, but...
Well, since you're saying that, let's talk about Mexico quick. In Mexico, this playthrough that I did, it was very apparent to me. It was like, wow, I'm really playing both sides of the field here. Like, I shouldn't be able to just march into like the army town and be okay because I've been doing shit for Reyes and vice versa. I shouldn't be able to walk that gray line between these 2 armies. You'd be recognized by both, and you're infamous with both because of your actions. It just seemed really strange that, okay, I know that John Marsden's just there to get Bill Williamson and Javier Escuela, but like he's literally playing both sides of
he's a triple
this.
agent.
The thin red line.
I don't know.
It jumped out at me as well. I was thinking that, like, boom, doing a mission for the resistance, now I'm doing a mission for the government.
Right.
Like,
right. The way I played it this time, I actually knocked them out sort of in order. Like, I just went and did all the missions for DeSanta, and then I did all the missions for Reyes and Luisa.
And it's weird, too, because I'm not trying to tie into gameplay, but there's that bar that basically measures your fame.
And honor.
So you're gaining fame, like, you think in a realistic world, you'd be noticed if you're jumping between sides. Just saying.
Yeah. It's kind of unrealistic, I think, in that regard.
Yeah.
Not that the whole game is based on a lot of realism. I mean, it's there, but, guys, you know what I'm saying.
So let's just kind of, I guess, start talking about the ending.
Sure.
Because it's pretty much, we've pretty much established you do a bunch of stuff in,
Yep.
the U.S., then you go down to Mexico, and then you go after Dutch.
Yeah. I do want to say that I like the Mexico portion of the game. I like it a lot, and I guess this is the best place to say it, that once you get into Mexico, you get like that music cue where a song plays, and I think that's the first time that happens, and you find that it recurs throughout the game as you finish certain tasks or do something, you'll get unique music that'll play.
Little audio cues.
Yeah. I kind of... Go ahead, Steve.
Oh, I was going to say, I really liked the end scene between John and Dutch. Like when you have Dutch like with his back up towards the cliff, and he's going on like his speech, basically like getting really into it. I really liked that. I thought that was well written too.
Yeah, I do want to say that I like the way Dutch's death is handled, though. It's interesting that Marsden doesn't do it himself, and then once he's at the bottom of the cliff, good old Edgar Ross, who I don't think we've mentioned yet, or no, we did mention him.
One of the government boys.
Oh yeah,
shoots him with Marsden's gun and says, "It looks better on the report that way." Yeah, I don't think John really wanted to kill Dutch.
I don't think he did. He wanted to do any of this.
Oh, of course.
No.
He's just doing it for his family. You're right. But specifically Dutch, who was like a father to him. He didn't want to outright murder him, I guess.
Yeah, pretty much.
And then he sort of helped him out by just jumping off the cliff.
I think, and this is going to go back to me kind of. So I think Marston, because Marston at the beginning of the game, the first time he confronts Bill is like, look, I just need to talk to you. Because I think Marston at that point is still thinking of a way to get out of under the thumb. And maybe he's going to ask Bill, like, look,
recruit?
Like, I need your help. But Bill shoots him because he doesn't trust him because of the shit that they did to him. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So then it's a spiral from there. Marston's like, you know what? Fuck this. I'm going to continue to give you chances to try to come to my side, but once push comes to shove, I'm going through you, I'm going through Escuela, and I'm going through Dutch. And I think that is possibly why, because I mean, there's tons of times where Marston could, in theory, really take out Bill.
Yeah. There were a couple of missions where you get really close to him and you would have had an opportunity. Not so much the bank heist because it was a hostage situation, but like when he goes up to his camp and he snipes him or he scopes him with the binoculars, he could have killed him then.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I think he's trying to give Bill chances to possibly gain favor back in and kind of like pull them back in the fold. Like, look, I need help. But I think it just comes to shove, and then he's just like, all right, I'm just going to run through the three of you. Because once you get Bill, the other two fall rather quickly. Well, it's like he flips the switch and decides, like, okay, I'm just going to run through everybody.
I think you get Javier first, don't you? And then you get Bill Williamson with the president of Mexico.
Yeah, sorry, yeah.
You're good. I never interpreted it that way. That's interesting. That maybe Marsden is not, his choice isn't so definitive. Because I played the game like a holier than thou, walking on water, Jesus Christ, Savior of the Wasteland. So in my mind, he's out to get these guys because of what they've done, and he's trying to save his family. So there was no question that he was going to kill Dutch. I just mean, like, that's for my actions. For John Marsden's actions in terms of the story, simply put, yeah, I don't think he wanted to kill Dutch.
Yeah, I don't
know. And he even says it. He says, I'd rather kill Ross. He says it to Ross. He said, I'd kill you 100 times before I kill Dutch.
Mm-hmm.
Probably one of those cutscenes in the Model T that Harry skipped.
Well, it's because he believes in what Dutch was doing, at least originally. Because he
before he went crazy.
Yeah, he believes exactly in what Dutch is doing as an idealist, and then it kind of just goes to shit, and he becomes fucking crazy, and that's when Marston's like, I can't do this.
It's probably syphilis.
Probably
got his mind.
Gentleman's issue, morning drip.
The morning drip, that was so funny. I was like, wait, the morning drip, what is that? I actually had to look that shit up, but that was funny. He was like, Lord, boy, where'd you hear that?
Uncle.
Well, he'd know. La, 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 la.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. So, Dutch dies. He's defeated. You think, game's over, right? Oh, wait, no, it's not. You get another music cue, and you finally get to ride home. You find that your wife and your son and uncle are actually at the ranch that's yours. And
he's not really your uncle, but they just call him that because he was older than everybody else.
We don't. No one really knows Uncle's complete story. That'll be DLC and
it's Red
Dead Redemption 2. It's Red. I found it to be very interesting, and I do want to say that this is the first Rockstar GTA-esque game that I saw the credits, because before this, I didn't beat GTA 4, I didn't beat San Andreas, I didn't beat Vice City, I didn't beat 3. I played them for hours, but I never beat the story. So I didn't really know what to expect and was surprised to find that, okay, you're going to settle back into your rancher life and you're going to do menial tasks like herd the cows, which the game comes full circle. A lot of things that you do at the end, you did at the beginning at the McFarland Ranch.
Yeah.
And I found that to be, very...
Boring? Is that the word you're looking for?
Boring. After everything you've been through, I do think that it's kind of boring, and I think it's supposed to be.
Yeah, I think it's by design to be boring.
What Clark said.
I agree. No, I think it was intentional.
And I think it's all to just pay off on what you think is the final scene of the game.
Okay,
What
sure.
you think is the final scene of the game, where
Can I cut you off quick? Before we get to the final scene, which we'll talk about, I do want to say that I like the interactions between John and Jack, and I like how he teaches him hunting, and I like how Jack goes off on his own and you have to rescue him from that bear. That whole series of interactions between the father and son, I thought was really poignant, and I like that whole thing, because that just, to me, felt like it's not a main theme of Westerns, like a father-son relationship, but there are a lot of Westerns that sort of get into that topic, and I just felt that the whole thing was really fitting and well done, and it's one of my favorite aspects of the game, is how you literally teach your son how to hunt, and then we move into the ending.
right. So
Sorry, one other thing before we get in there.
Okay.
In that scene, like they really put an emphasis on Jack.
Yeah.
I think they should have worked on the whole family. Like, I don't think there was really any like dialogue between him and his wife at that point. And I was like, well, now that you have the whole family, like, I thought they were going to try to build that whole image, but
I don't think it's exactly a Romeo and Juliet scenario.
yeah,
With their marriage?
she's pretty much kind of the slut that he married.
Wow.
Because he got her pregnant. No, that's literally what everyone alludes to.
Okay.
I think there was something more there than just
Oh yeah, for
that.
sure. He
You've
like
liked somebody for 10 years.
no. I'm just
I'm kidding. You're right. There was more to their relationship, and through their marriage, it doesn't really get maybe one more mission where it's them and they do something, and you clearly see that, okay, this is a real relationship, that they've made this work.
I think it just would have had a bigger impact on where we're about to get to.
Okay, I agree. Not gonna lie, for one more mission.
All right.
So you've settled into your life as a rancher. You've done these menial tasks. You get absolutely no hint that the next big mission is coming until, who is it? Uncle spots
Uncle
it with
starts running up.
he spots with his telescope, and it's just the army. And from there, you have to defend your house.
You send Abigail and Jack on their way. Tell them,
You do?
get the hell out of here. It's like as soon as you sent him away and they did like the close up of his face, you knew what was happening right there. You knew there was no way you were making it out. And I remember
when he hugs Jack, because he goes in for a hug for Jack, and he's like, "Look, no matter what happens, like stay in the house or do whatever."
Yeah.
And it's like, "Oh shit, what's happening?" Then you get attacked. Then I think Uncle gets hit, and he starts to like say a few words, and he just dies.
Yep.
Like it just hits him suddenly. Then you have to defend Abigail and Jack. Oh, the way Jack is shooting this whole time, by the way. He picked up a rifle and he's helping to defend.
Yeah, in the beginning part of it.
And then ultimately you reach the barn. You basically say your goodbyes. He does lead on and say, like, John does say, hey, I'll catch up with you, that kind of thing. But you get the feeling that, okay, this is probably not going to happen. But at the same point, the first time I played this, I did not expect the ending that we're getting to, where John peeks through the door, steps out, and it's just, 20 guys?
It's a lot. I don't know about 20, but it's like everybody's just standing there waiting for you.
Yeah.
It's like the whole Bill moment all over again. Let's make a stupid move and just stand in front of a bunch of people with guns pointed at me.
I see why you don't like the game. You don't like the ending.
No, we're not going there. I'm
It's
just
all right.
saying it was a dumb move.
what else could he have done?
He was in a barn with cover. Like, you use cover the entire fucking game.
So he's going to stop the United States government by killing 20
he killed
soldiers.
so many hundreds, like, leading up to just getting to the barn.
But they're going to leave him alone after he kills Edgar Ross and everybody
You
else.
thought he could have put more effort into that very last instead of
I
just
don't know. You
opening
kill
the
enough
door.
people, maybe they finally go away.
What is this, like a Halo Reach kind of thing? Like you want to like be there, like defending in the trenches as more and more come, and then finally you don't want the cutscene, is what you're saying, right?
I don't know. I wasn't a huge fan of that.
Okay, that
Would
is
you
a
have
fair.
rather had of a choice?
No, I didn't want
prefer
to
go outside.
to die or to run.
I just think it
Yeah.
was a little silly.
Oh, silly. All right, so you're allowed to have your opinion.
Even if they're wrong.
John Marsden walks out. You get, I don't know if I think it's automatically initiated the Deadeye, and you take out as many guys as you can. This time I did it with the Mauser broom handle. I wanted to see how far I could get. I actually had 2 glitches right at that scene that one made me laugh, the other one kind of pissed me off. The Deadeye I couldn't get things to work right, so I had the broom handle and I shot, I think, maybe 4 or 5 guys before Marsden just takes a hail of bullets and dies. Did you guys experience any glitches at the end there?
Nope.
No.
Okay. The one I got was, and I don't remember this happening years ago, but for this time when Jack and Abigail get on the horse and John basically shoos them away and he turns back, there was Jack, the NPC of Jack was just standing in the barn, like looking around. Almost like, and for a moment I was like, oh, so this is a glitch, but you could interpret it as Jack has like put himself in the barn and he's picturing what happens. But no, it's just there was an extra NPC. There were 2 Jacks on my screen that left, and I just thought it was so funny because he even like kind of like turned and looked at John Marsden and like went back and did his own thing. Apparently, it's I looked online. It's a glitch that can happen where there'll be 2 Jacks there.
Huh.
Lord knows why. Jack and Abigail ride back, obviously, and that's when you take over as Jack for the first time. You can control him then, and you get back and basically she falls down and cries, which kind of landed a little weak for me, I think, in terms of a cutscene.
Again, that's where I was saying maybe if they would have developed that relationship a little bit better, you would have felt more for her.
John, I'm pregnant. Yeah, and unless I'm wrong, from there it transitions to another music piece, John Marsden's grave, and the grave then slowly becomes old, and you become Jack. And you can do any of the stranger side missions that you didn't do before or anything else. If you want, you have John's full inventory. You have all the rabbit feet and snake skins that John had. And you do the final mission to track down Edgar Ross. And you can kill his family as you go, if you put the bandana on, I think. But you fight him in a duel, and you defeat him. The end.
You get your revenge.
You get your redemption. Damn it!
No, I don't know.
No, Marston gets his redemption. Jack doesn't get his redemption. He gets his revenge.
And then what happens to Jack, I wonder? A life of crime.
Probably not.
He finds a lovely prostitute to impregnate and then tries to raise a farm.
He starts to follow a man.
He tries to raise a farm. Little farm. Little farm.
Go to sleep, little cornfield. Yeah, so that's the story. I think the story is fantastic. I'm just going to say that.
Fantasticals.
Harry, you got anything else?
I think majority of the story is forgetful. I think there are iconic scenes in this game. Absolutely.
Forgettable.
What did
just say
Forgetful.
say the whole sentence again.
Yeah, just
He was forgetful of the English
Large
language.
portion.
I think most of the story is weak. I think it's silly and it's not toned correctly for the atmosphere of this game.
So you wanted a very serious story.
I did. I think it was too goofy, and then when they try to go for a serious moment, they're like, oh, forget about all that silly stuff we did. We want you to take us serious now. And it's like, fucking pick a tone.
Jesus.
He is pissed.
Woo!
I don't know, this... Yeah.
I think
the
there's
story-
at least 5 hours of no goofiness in the story when you get to the ending.
I'll give it 2.5. 2.
2.
2 and a 2?
2.
A 2-2?
I think like the first serious one was that bank robbery. And I think from there on, like I thought it was really good. I thought it was really good. But that is so late in the game.
Oh, you know what? You're right. The who was it? The professor from Yale who's like shooting up cocaine.
Oh, yeah.
He's played for laughs. He's totally goofy.
Yeah, but a lot of the characters are goofy. Like even what was it, Laura's, or when you're doing the missions down in Mexico where you can't remember her fucking name.
Oh yeah, you can't remember her
Luisa
name. Yeah.
Reyes.
He's supposed to be a goof. Bill's supposed to be kind of a goof. Like Bonnie
Santa.
is all like happy-go-lucky for the most part. Like there's nothing too serious there. Like it's just too much. I don't know. It feels shallow because of how lighthearted everybody was, and everybody knows like how hard the lifestyle was out in the West. Like, why are we being super happy? I don't know. It just, I don't think the tone was correct.
Well, this is the settled West. I want to make it
The death
Yeah.
of the West. It's the death of the West.
Yes. It's very specifically. This is like the beginning of the Industrial Revolution.
Still, I'm just saying. I just don't. Think
So that's why everyone's happy. Everyone was like pretty jazzed about the Industrial Revolution.
Oh, I see. No, that was the next decade. Jazz. Yeah. See. Yeah. Just kidding.
You know what I mean?
I'm kidding.
Ah.
If nobody has anything else for story, I think we'll move on then, guys.
Yeah.
Gameplay.
Okay, so gameplay. It's a third-person shooter with a lot to do.
It's a lot of
Yes.
shooting.
There's a ton of shit to do in this game.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Anything from like hunting, duels, fucking arm wrestling challenges, playing poker, playing blackjack,
Five-finger fillet.
yeah, five-finger fillet, helping the strangers are all weird, interesting missions.
Liar's dice, I think, as well.
Horseshoes.
Yeah.
Horseshoes.
You can take a fucking lasso, hog tie somebody, and throw them on a railroad track and let the fucking train run them over.
Well, we know what Clark did with his playthrough.
Fun fact,
I
you
did
get
that
an
once or twice.
achievement called Dastardly for that one.
You
Yeah.
twirled your mustache, too.
Yeah, exactly. Countless people met their fate that way. They just explode.
Oh yeah, they just
There's
fucking
nothing left.
explode.
It's just like poof of blood, and then they're gone.
I want to say that the random encounters were like just the little mini things you do, like someone's got a wagon that lost a wheel, and they say, "Hey, I need help," and then you get there, and either they actually need help. Well, I don't think any of them actually need help. It's like a damsel in distress, and it's like 3 dudes ready to jump you. Those kind of things were really fun initially, and then after, you know, you've had the same one maybe 3 or 4 times, it's like, okay, I'm just going to ride past you and ignore you because I'm tired of the same nonsense
Right.
over and over again.
Yeah.
I did like I like some of the random stuff where
Oh,
you just
oh,
be
yeah.
riding and all of a sudden you had like a posse sent on you.
Yep.
Or you'll be, you know, walking.
My horse
walking-
was stolen.
Yeah, a horse gets stolen. You can get fucking horse jacked.
That didn't happen to me, actually.
That happened to me once. So they'll slow you down and be like, "Oh, I need a ride back into town, mister." Then they'll just pull you off your horse and start running away, and you just
Okay.
Yeah, I had a lady in the middle of the fucking desert in Mexico run up, and she's like, Mister, there's someone in the woods. And she, as soon as she got up to me, grabbed me by the foot, threw me off the fucking horse, hopped on, and started riding off.
It's a bad bitch.
then that bitch got shot.
Yeah, she got shot in the back of the fucking head.
I'm pretty sure you lassoed her and put her on the train tracks.
No.
Oh, okay.
No. Ain't no time for that. I wouldn't have caught her. She was on a horse.
Okay. And you don't want to shoot your own horse. You're right.
Yeah, so I just dead-eyed shot her in the back of the head.
There you go.
Bounties. The bounty hunting I found to be a lot of fun and,
Yes.
and refreshing.
That was pretty neat.
Though, to be honest, it does get kind of tired because I always took them alive and would ride back to town, and you get attacked like every time. You just know it's going to happen. It's like, 2 or 3 phases of a couple riders on horses are trying to shoot you.
You get attacked if you take them dead,
Dead, too?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, to me, that's kind of like,
Trying to turn the bounty in.
you'd think that sometimes there wouldn't be an attack and sometimes there would, but it's just like they're always going to come. They're always going to come after you. But I really liked going to a new region or a town and doing the bounties. Thought that was fun. Sort of tied into that, I think it's funny if you commit a crime, which most of the crimes that I committed were accidental. Like I accidentally shot someone's horse or shot someone when I was trying to help them. And then it's like, oh, $10. And you can like walk into to where the
Sheriff is.
is it the sheriff? Or
Telegrams.
thank you.
Yeah.
Like the telegraph booth, and you say, "I'd like to settle my debts," and like put $5 down, and you're fine, no problem. You can walk out of there.
Yeah, but it never looks like just $10. It's
No,
like a
no.
wad of fucking cash.
Oh yeah, it's like an inch.
They only ever hand over wads
Yeah.
in this game.
Well, that's how pesos work, Harry. The zeros are all meaningless.
Yeah, but you need 5,000 of them for $5.
Or you could use the parting letters. Letters? Oh, parting letters.
Party lifters.
Oh, I used my parting letters.
Bloody party streamers. Are we back to
Hello?
Dead by Daylight?
Hello? I did
we
enjoy
move
the
on?
hunting as well. I want to say I enjoyed the hunting more in 2010 than I did now. But like going and hunting grizzly bears is a lot of fun.
Don't lie, Ralph. You loved shooting dead every single animal that was in that game.
Killed everything that walked or crawled at one time or another.
I skinned a lot of animals.
Yeah. Yes.
Just saying.
It gets
Yes.
old too.
That gets old. The whole animation. I wish you could just speed it up or skip it. Like just
One of my favorite things in this game was when you you're looting a body or you're skinning an animal, and the animation just nope.
yeah.
And
just
you
skips
get
and you're
everything?
I'm
Thank
like,
God.
I'm totally
Oh,
okay
yes.
with this.
the
Just
best
going
feeling.
into like there's a group of like 5 dead guys and you're just hitting triangle as much as you can. It'll do like 1 and you might be able to bypass a couple more.
So I will say, as an open world game, I think it's one of the best. Not necessarily in story, but for actually just like stuff to do that seems natural, where it's not just thousands of fucking icons everywhere and you're like just overpopulated with all of this shit.
Yeah. It's not like Assassin's Creed where you got millions of feathers to collect and that kind of thing.
Yep.
Like being able
That's all I
to
was going to say.
just taking out the birds and randomness.
I don't know. I want to say something that bothered me about the gameplay. I think the controls are god awful.
What do you mean?
I guess it's like how sticky the joystick is on your character, as in like movement. Like it's not immediate. It's like almost delayed. Like the amount of times I ran over somebody when I was trying to stop, or
Well, a horse doesn't have disc brakes, Harry.
I understand. This is a Rockstar thing. It's not exclusive to this, because I feel the same way about Grand Theft Auto games. I don't like the third-person controls of the character. I
think they lean more towards actual real physics than not. I think a lot of the third-person action stuff that we see today is video game physics, and I think like nobody stops on a fucking dime. Like fucking professional athletes barely stop on a fucking dime like that. Like you can't just let off of the controller and expect, like no one can come to a stop like that without some sort of like momentum. So I like running into people and stuff like that, like running people over with a horse. Like you have to like plan that stuff. Like you have to actually slow down with like in a reasonable amount of time to not hit somebody.
I think were you saying
maybe,
a little more on the end of like there's a delay between
as a result of the controls, the amount of times I would try to be walking through a doorway but like hit a wall instead, or something like that. Like
It sounds like you're not good at the game.
all right, here we go.
Actually, that sounds like you might have drift in your controller.
Do you need a new controller?
I don't think so. I don't know. I felt the same way when I used to play like Vice City or Grand Theft Auto 3. That was the last Grand Theft Autos I played, but felt very similar in the movement to those games. And I was never a big fan of it. Like it was always something that caused a mild frustration with playing.
When I think of Vice City, I think of the jumping being kind of hokey.
The jumping
Yes.
was hokey in this. His little like weird hop thing. It was
Hop.
hop 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 hop. hop.
I don't know, Harry.
Nah, I think the controls suck. I had this conversation with John the other night too, and he totally agrees. It's like a Rockstar thing, though. That's what.
I think the controls on the horse suck. I think like trying to get the horse to turn in a circle, like stand still, is a pain in the ass.
I have no complaints when it comes to the movement or the horses. Okay, no, wait, that's not true. The cover system I didn't think was very good.
Yeah, the
I
cover system
wasn't as
great.
fleshed out. I mean, obviously, this got sort of better. What, GTA 4 had the first cover system for a Rockstar game, then 5's is a little bit better. It just wasn't sticky where I needed it to be. Giggity? I'll say that. But riding the horse, walking around...
How about mashing X when riding a horse?
Oh, that's lots of fun, yeah. Love it. But again, unless you're driving a car, that's sort of a Grand Theft Auto Rockstar trope.
Yeah.
Yep.
What other games they use that on? I don't think I
Well,
played.
to run, you have to you mash that to run.
Oh, you're right. You're right.
Yeah. Yeah, that's just a Rockstar thing.
I don't know. Because I didn't enjoy that either.
You really don't like open world games, to be fair.
Not for the most part, no.
So you don't like to just get dropped into, let's say, Armadillo, and then just do a bunch of things around there? You don't let your imagination run wild?
What you gonna do, brother?
Okay.
I know you like more objective based things than rather like here's a sandbox playing it.
Yeah, probably.
You're totally that type of person, because I'm always like, oh, did you check this out? And you're like, oh, what kind of game is it? I'm like, oh, it's kind of like open worldy, and you're like, is there like actual progression to it, or is it like you like more linear objective based games? Like you probably wouldn't like Ghost Recon because they just kind of drop you in and they're like, you can go after whoever you want except for the main bad guy.
But you still put 600 hours into Skyrim.
To what?
No.
I never played Skyrim.
I believe that. You need a checklist, I guess. Or even more so.
I don't know.
Anyway.
Oh, wait, we went from controls to open sandbox. It's crazy.
Well, we're covering gameplay stuff. I mean, like there's the things that you're complaining about are common open world game things.
That's true.
So it's like you're making more of a commentary on the game style than you are like the game itself, which is fine because it is one of those games, but I'm just saying it's more of the style and not necessarily this one game specifically. However, I do think the horse controls are not that great, and in Rockstar games specifically, they have a different physics set for when you're like, if you let off the stick, you actually need to like kind of like press backwards to actually like slow yourself down. Like they have that like momentum. Like not a lot of games actually have real momentum physics into it, whereas this you could like barrel through.
Yeah.
And what's interesting is you can see a lot of the momentum shift in this game when you drink. So you can get super drunk and then you're like really moving the stick, and if you aren't moving it 100% straight, you'll actually start to veer, and then if you try to correct it, your character will actually take a step out and then you'll just dive head first into the ground, and then you can get too drunk that you can't move.
It's another mini game, drinking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How do you play? X?
Yeah.
Yeah, like when you were talking about like moving on a dime, like with the horse, the house controls.
The house controls.
The horse controls.
The house always wins.
Like same thing. I don't think like if you're standing and facing, let's just say north, I don't think you can just hit right and he'll just like turn right. I think there's like this little pivot turn that he has to do.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Like it's not a like because a lot of games where you control character third person, you can just like spin him in a circle on the spot he's standing in.
You can
this
do that
is
here.
like that.
You can do that here.
Yeah, but you have to be completely stopped. You can't be walking north and then make a perfect 90 degree. You veer as you would. I mean, like, you know, if you were walking at an actual speed, you're not instantaneously facing right. You would fall over. So it's the gradual. That's why I was saying it's more like
I get it.
Momentum.
It just having played so many other games that uses the other system, it's just a little irritating when it comes to this game. That's
No, okay.
we don't have to elaborate on. I think we spent enough time on controls.
Okay. I did want to say that I really liked the duels as well, and how you can have the option to shoot the weapon out of the hand of someone for more fame, or shoot their hat off their head, or just kill them. And I want to say that I like and I don't like how you spawn a duel, because if you get caught cheating at cards, you can initiate a duel, but other than that, you have to like walk into a town. It has to be like noonish, and you just have to wait for an NPC to be like, "Hey, you! I want to kill you," or something like that, and then you start your duel. I just feel like there should be another way for you to do it.
Something that makes it a little more easily accessible.
Yeah, and
instead
that's
of just having to wait or cheat at poker.
Less random. Mm-hmm. And I guess I can't really eat my cake and have it too, because there are a lot of things in this game that are random that I wish there was a more definitive way to do it, because I took the time to do some of the hunting challenges, and I wanted to get to like the legendary beasts. Like there's like a specific boar you have to hunt, and like a grizzly that has like, it's missing an eye and that kind of thing. Like I wanted to get to them and I didn't, mostly because I got stuck on like the 5th tier where I had to get 5 foxes, beavers, and skunks. And I got 4 skunks and died twice, back to back, because like a bandit showed up and shot me or something, or I was just not paying attention.
Just not hunting in the right spot.
Yeah, right. And it was like, where can I just give me a goddamn skunk spawn? Like I need a freaking skunk. Eventually I did it, but it was frustrating to me to have to wait for the game to give me what I wanted, which is a very general gaming thing when it comes to random items like that. But with the duels, it was like, oh, I want to do a duel. What do I have to do? Okay, let me go to this town. Nope, nothing. Oh, let me go to this town. Nope, nothing. Oh, let me go get caught cheating at cards, which I didn't do. I did spend a lot of time playing poker in my initial run, by the way. That's why I said, lock me up and throw away the keys, because one of the characters that plays poker in Armadillo, that's like one of his catchphrases, and it's one of the big takeaways I have from the game. It's like stuck in my head.
Yes, it is.
I can't get it out. It's like that, and Herbert Moon's
racism,
anti-Semitism. Nice way to put it. He just talks shit all the time. It's all he does. You can actually challenge him to a duel, but you have to be playing cards with him, and you have to get caught cheating, and then he'll take you out and you duel Herbert Moon.
Huh.
My first playthrough of this game, like this one, I just kind of like went through redid the story pretty much straight through, but I loaded up my old file the other day, and my completion rating for this game is 99.3.
Damn.
I have almost the entire game done. I have one challenge left to do, and that's it. That's the tomahawks, which I'd like to talk about.
Of course.
The variance of weaponry in the game is actually really cool. I think they perfectly go, between the whole classic cattleman revolver, which is like the
Colt Peacemaker.
Yeah, it's pretty much like a Colt Peacemaker. And then you have the 1911 as well at the end of the game.
It's actually, as I looked it up, all the weapons are based on reality. And that's what I would have said probably before saying, it's like, oh, it's the 1911. It's actually the 1903 Browning pistol. It doesn't have a hammer. It's just a vague, it's like the precursor.
Gotcha.
It's like one generation before the 1911. So I'm not faulting you there. But yeah, the weapons are all based in reality. You can look them up and see, when they came out, their traits, that kind of thing. That attention to detail with the weapons are one of the, that's a top mark for me, how much I love this game. That you can go in and you can get a Lamat revolver, which was a Civil War Confederate cavalry revolver that shot 9.45s and one shotgun, but you can't use a shotgun barrel for whatever reason in the game. It's a very late revolver. I don't know if you guys got it. A 9-shot revolver. Mm-hmm. Cool. Mm-hmm. Love that gun.
Tomahawks.
Oh, I mean that you kind of covered what I was gonna talk about, the different variants of weaponry and stuff.
Late game, the Buffalo rifle was my go-to. Even though it's a single shot, it'll drop a guy in one hit, or drop a bear between the eyes in one hit.
Yeah,
that was the one I used for the hunting challenge, where you have to shoot 3 bears and drop them with a single bullet. The Buffalo rifle to the head does it every time almost.
God damn it! Always felt good taking out a bear. I don't know why.
Did you attack him with the knife? Did you get that challenge?
Not this one. I think I did that through my first playthrough.
Yeah,
because that was one where I went totally in, trying to do the same thing, go through all the challenges, especially the hunter ones and survivalist and everything else.
Pro tip for that: you shoot it with the cattleman revolver 4 times, and then finish it with the knife.
Right. You can sort of not pregame it, but you can
weaken it,
pepper it up.
Yeah,
pepper it. Yeah.
But you have to be quick with that fucking knife. You have to So what I did was I stood on. I saw the bear coming, and I found a really high rock, and I shot it a few times. Then hopped behind the rock so it would come around, hop back up, and actually kind of jumped onto it and stabbed it.
I didn't know you could jump stab. That's cool.
No, not jump stab, but I moved off of the rock, and as I was falling, swung.
Oh, okay.
So it didn't have the chance to do its whole the grab thing that it does. Have you ever did you ever get fucked up by a bear where it bulls you over? Yeah, it pretty much bulls you over and then it just mauls you to death. It's not really a grab, but it's pretty much once it gets you on the ground, you're kind of fucked.
Yeah, it's a grizzly bear. Yeah.
So I kind of gamified it a little bit where I was all right, I'm gonna make you I know your logic. You're not gonna come up over this rock. So then I hopped up on the rock and just stabbed it.
Apparently, there's a certain point in the land that the grizzly bears are not supposed to cross. It's they can't leave tall trees or something like that, so they'll chase you up until a point, and then they'll stop and stand up and turn around and walk away. I didn't exploit that this time, but I read that you can do it.
But yeah, there's challenges for all the different weaponry as well.
Yeah, sharpshooter challenges, I think. I enjoyed all those. That I didn't really do the one where you collect different herbs because that's
the survivalist.
So boring.
Yeah, let me just.
It was super boring to do, but I did it.
Yeah.
Literally, all I have left is the tomahawk ones, and I think it's honestly the last step of it for Mastery 5 is so. I don't know if I'm gonna take the time to actually do it, but then it's 99.3.
You're almost right there.
You have to take out an entire gang hideout only using the tomahawk.
Oh wow!
There's probably one hideout one or two that you can choose that it's a little bit easier to do to make it easier.
Probably, I might look online and see if there's a preferred destination for that specific challenge. But that whole mastery line is really tough. The first challenge is to get a kill while on horseback without throwing it and with throwing one. And then it's the second one, or no, the first one's kill somebody. The second one is those 3. The third one is you have to hit a bird out of the air with the hatchet.
Really?
Yes. It cannot be on something either. It has to be in the air.
I think you could see a vulture like in the distance and walk up to it, and as soon as it takes flight, go to Deadeye, and I think you could do that.
Can't use Deadeye.
You can't use Deadeye?
Cannot use Deadeye to do it.
So then you just lock
It
on
literally
click,
it
bam.
literally says without Deadeye.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And then the fourth one is kill 5 people with it without missing a single tomahawk throw.
I think I remember doing that one years ago. I remember
it's
that.
It's a pain. And then I did a bounty with it. I just killed everybody at the bounty with it. And then the
you,
gang hideout.
And you.
I think Deadeye's really cool. It brings together the whole like what they worked on kind of with Max Payne a little bit. Like there's bullet time. They brought bullet time to the West, and I think that's kind of a cool.
That's a great way to put it.
Yeah.
Having said that, though, what did you guys think about the difficulty of the game?
I didn't really find it difficult.
I played on casual, so it was like super easy.
You didn't need to do that.
I didn't, but
Did you ever have a guy take more than one bullet?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Even in casual? Okay.
I played on just the regular setting.
Me too. I think the game's too easy.
I found it easy when I played.
Yeah.
So I didn't know if this was exclusive to casual, but if you bring up your weapon to aim down sights almost, does it lock on
Yes.
in normal?
Yeah.
It does.
In hardcore, it doesn't.
Okay.
Well, so in normal, if they move like maybe an inch on screen, it unhooks.
Okay, got it.
Oh, does yours stay locked on?
Yeah,
the
in
whole time?
casual.
Mine did, but that actually made it difficult at times, though, because it was really stuck on them. So if you try to move it off because they're hidden behind cover, but you can still see the top of their head, you can't.
Because
it's
it's hard on yourself then.
It probably it was too sticky with the lock on, to be honest.
See, what I liked to do was playing in the normal mode is you get locked on them and then you tilt just a little bit up and you're in neck and face territory to drop your opponent in one shot. You'll probably never play it again, but if you did, I'd prescribe you to play it on the normal difficulty and you'd enjoy it a little bit more.
Did you do any side stuff, Harry?
I played. I think I wanted to try all the mini games. I did the poker at one point, which was hard to sit through at how slow paced it was.
Yes, yeah. The poker's pretty slow, but
I really enjoy the poker.
But that's so that you can see if somebody else is cheating as well at the table.
Okay,
they do it specifically slower so that you can kind of get a grasp of what's going on at the table as well as your cards and like what's happening with the cards.
I didn't think it was that slow.
Oh, I felt agonizing.
I can just skip right through it.
Yeah, you can skip to your turn.
But you wouldn't see the cheating then if you skip through it, right?
That is correct.
Yeah.
And you're taking a gamble.
I found it was really easy to bluff, too.
Yeah, I mean,
it's not a poker game.
Anyway, it's not a poker game, that's true, but I want to say that for Red Dead Redemption, I enjoyed a lot of things, but the poker is like an aside where I learned Texas Hold'em by, well, no, I guess I did know I knew the rules before. I just want to say I spent a lot of time playing just poker, and specifically even the high stakes table in Blackwater, like doing that whole deal. I think there's a challenge to clear the table or to get an outfit. You have to clear a table.
Yep.
Speaking of which, the outfits. When I first played this game, I went through everything I needed to get all the outfits. I really wanted them and enjoyed them. This time I did.
Did you
some of them.
100% the game?
Because
that is one of them. You have to 100% the game.
The Legend of the West?
No.
Is that okay? I seem to remember checking my progress on the Rockstar website to see if I had 100% in it, but I don't have. I don't have a platinum. I didn't platinum it, but I thought I had 100% completion. I could be wrong because I didn't do anything multiplayer wise.
You don't need it for multiplayer.
Okay,
it's 100% in the game. Like there's a stat. Literally, if you go into stats in the game, it'll tell you how much completion you have.
I have to say I didn't check this time when I played it. I didn't check it.
Fair enough.
Did you do any of the stranger missions, or pretty much just stick to the main ones?
I stuck to the main missions. I did a lot of the random events, though. I did jump in on that.
I want to say that if you didn't do any stranger stuff, you did miss out on some of the game. Like there are some things there that are interesting
and unique. Like there's
I'm sure I was just ready to be done.
Like the one with the cannibal.
Yeah, the cannibal. The person that is picking flowers for their 20-year-old dead wife.
The woman who's waiting at the chapel for her husband who is at the bar and he's long
been
since
dead for 16 years.
Yeah.
Like,
The guy
really
trying
get
to fly.
see, like, if you wanted like the dark timeline in this, that's all the people that are like from when it was the Wild West and are just fucked up in the head. Like all the stranger missions. And then can we talk about the I Know You guy?
Yes, absolutely. There's no way we're not going to talk about I Know You.
Okay.
Harry, do you know the I Know You stuff?
No.
Yeah, so pretty much there's a guy, he shows up how many times?
3?
Yeah, I think he shows up 3 times. He says, it's a stranger mission. And he's like, oh, I know you, John. And like he's talking to him like he knows him.
Just sorry to clarify. Are these the question marks that just
Yes.
pop up?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
He's wearing a top hat, black suit.
Yeah. And long and the short of it, he pretty much knows Marston from whatever.
His past.
His past. They never really say what he is. And then the last little like time that you meet him, because it's just little vignettes to meet him, right? He doesn't ever ask you to actually do a mission.
Well,
I forget because I didn't do them this time.
actually, oh, you didn't?
No.
The first time you see him, he says, hey, there's a guy who's going to go cheat on his wife in Thieves Landing. Why don't you go help him out with that? And you can sort of either let him do it or talk him out of it or shoot him.
Oh, right.
Then
he gives you moral decisions. That's right.
Yes.
I forgot. It's been a while, but the end to me is the most interesting part of this whole thing. It's more or less that guy is like the person that is defining if Marston has actually redeemed himself or not. He puts him in a bunch of situations that he faced when he was an outlaw. Mm-hmm. So he's given him all these different like positions, like, oh, you can do a good deed here or a bad deed, good deed, bad deed. Good
I think
deed,
donate
bad
to the
deed.
church is the second one.
Yes, donate to the church or take the money.
Right.
And then the third time, you're having this back and forth, and Marston just pretty much gets fed up with the dude, and he goes to shoot him, and unloads his gun at the guy, and the guy just keeps walking. And an interesting fact about that whole spot, it is on Marston's gravesite.
And he remarks, oh, this is a lovely spot, or this is a nice spot, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like this weird, like, foreshadow, somewhat supernatural thing that they kind of just play at in the game. I mean, they do supernatural stuff. They've done it in every single Grand Theft Auto. They've continued to do it in Red Dead as well.
My theory is that he's the devil, basically.
Yeah, I kind of think so too. I kind of think he's trying to figure out if Marston's going to him or not.
He basically says, who are you? Who are you? Damn you, who are you? And then he just pulls his gun, blam, blam, blam.
Yeah. And just bullets go like right through him. He doesn't even seem fazed by it. And he's like, oh, this is a lovely spot. He's literally walking on Marston's grave.
Yeah, he is. For my John Marsden Jesus Christ walkthrough, it seemed really out of character for him to pull his gun out and try to gun the guy down. But that's how it goes. Sorry, Harry. The stranger missions, they're like another 20% of the game that adds intrigue and content that unfortunately you missed out on.
Just reminded me that you really see that Marston can be a real dick.
Yeah, I mean,
on the on the homestead with Uncle, the way he treats him compared to everybody else, he treats him like a complete piece of garbage. Well, not like complete, but you know what I mean. Just like the way that he talks to him, I'm like, wow, Marston's kind of a dick. I mean, yeah, I get it.
I agree. I think it was out of character, to be honest. The way he talked to everybody else and how he was like, "Oh, howdy, ma'am," like polite, and then he's
yes,
just
sir.
like, "You're a piece of shit." Just like all this shit on your beard. You throwing up again?
I wasn't drinking.
I don't know.
Well, maybe he knows something about Uncle. I mean, like,
True.
we're going to find out more about Uncle in Red Dead 2, but, like, there might be things that, like, he's seen Uncle do, and he's just like, look, out of the kindness of my heart, you can live with me, but you're going to fucking help me, and I'm not going to treat you nice.
Fair enough.
There are a few other things that we failed to mention, like you can break horses, and you can then
Glue them back together.
Yeah.
With other horses.
with horse glue.
You cut off the hooves and melt them
Yeah,
down
there you
and
go.
make some glue.
I just melt the whole horse.
I'm sure there are things that they're leaving out gameplay wise, but I think that is a good coverage for everything you can do.
I think so as well.
Let's move into the graphics.
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 All right, so graphically, I don't actually have a lot to say. I think I can summarize this real quick by saying I think the game looked great at release. and it hasn't really aged well, but I think it's let down by the hardware, specifically because Rockstar has not released a PC port of this game. If I could run this on a PC, it would still look great. Or if I had an Xbox One and I had the digital version where apparently it goes up to 4K, all the textures are cleaned up and it looks good. On the PS3, there's a lot of jaggies all over the place for me. Jaggies. I do like that if you look in the distance, it can sometimes look blurry, and how the setting of it being in a desert mostly works in its favor that way, because it's almost like a mirage. Like, it doesn't look... It looks realistic, but blurry, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
I think the character models are good for the time. I think the animations are good for the time. A little bit of... like when you're in tall trees and you're just like looking either for plants or animals, and the grass is poking up through the snow, I think looks a little bit janky. It just hurts my eyes to look at it for too long. And I think the water and the sky and sunsets looked fantastic.
I loved going swimming all the time.
No, you didn't swim. Past your ankles.
Yeah, you couldn't go far. It was terrible.
I'm just going to piggyback off of what you were saying. I think for the time, like in 2010, this game was fucking gorgeous. It was one of the best looking games for its time. Today's standards, no, it's not the greatest looking game anymore. Just for a comparison, I actually tried to play it on PS Now because I heard there's a little bit of up-resing. It's there. It looks a little bit better, but when I would get really going on the horse, there would be frame rate drops. I predominantly played on the PS3, and the PS3 version still is like a little hitchy, you know. It has that jank, but I really like... I feel like there's an authenticity to the character models when it comes to like that era of American culture.
Definitely.
Where I feel like they fucking nailed it. And I feel like just like the design of like, oh, here's like the snake oil merchant, and like he looks like what you would picture in your head.
Oh yeah.
And I really just think that, you know, the dirt and the fucking grime that are on these people really just shows, and I think it was incredibly well done. The landscapes are incredible. Some of the views and the viewpoints that you can get to, just when it is nighttime and you're riding through like the canyon in Mexico, like it's that main one that like you, right after you come in from America, New Austin, right when you come in, and there's just like a really deep canyon that you don't ever really go into or anything like that. It just looks fucking awesome at night with like all the stars and everything. I think it's really fucking cool.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I mean, it's pretty much beating a dead horse, but for it's dead. It's not making noises. Exactly. You got it.
Boom, roasted.
It was good for its time. And I think, piggyback off of you, the detail that they actually put in the character models and like the fine things, I think they really nailed it. Also for the fact that basically everybody just had shit teeth, you know.
Yep.
And it's pretty accurate to how it was. I think it was very, very few that had like okay teeth.
Everyone's hand looked weird too. I don't know if you guys noticed that. Everyone's hands look bony.
I didn't notice that.
Because they all had to fucking work, man.
Oh yeah.
We all have fucking keyboard hands now. Like,
I'm not going to argue.
You guys basically covered all my bullet points.
So you like the graphics?
Yeah, I think I'll hold this category in the highest regard compared to the others.
Okay.
No, I also agree. I wasn't even going to say they looked dated at this point. I thought the environments looked really good, and I do like the character models. There wasn't like a model-looking character. Like, everybody looked weathered in the game, which I think is completely realistic.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't think there's going to be a ton of beautiful people living out in this environment.
Yeah.
I had one gripe regarding like when you head further north, it becomes a little bit snowy on the landscape. The first time I was riding through there, grass, and then boom, the snow loaded all around me.
Oh yeah.
And I was like, oh, okay. It's
that happened to me the first time that I rode into there too. I wonder if it's like a asset, like if that's literally like a programming thing where it's like, oh, load this asset, fuck, like, you know what I mean? Like I think it's just a late load, because it happened to me the first time that I went there, and even this time. Like but I specifically remember that as well.
If you're riding your horse fast enough, you can outpace the textures popping in.
Yeah, you can.
Or people.
Although they've patched a lot of that up since then. I played the game like fully where I did all of my exploring and shit like right when it came out. So
Okay, did you want to talk about the glitches then that happened with launch? That's probably a development bullet point, but
yeah, no, we don't have to get into it. Honestly,
okay. I unfortunately, yeah.
that would have been a development thing.
I did experience a little bit of clipping in the game, like characters like in a doorway when the door is shut or something like that. You could see like edges of their face and the hands just kind of poking through. Game crashed on me, I think, twice. One was, do you remember when you charge the wagon that has all the explosives and you have to jump off before it hits the gate?
Yeah.
When it hit the gate, game froze.
What were you playing on?
360.
Oh, okay. So I will say this: the 360 version is the inferior of the two.
Oh, I
that were
imagine it
released.
is. Yes. No.
I wasn't expecting you to say that actually.
Really?
Yeah, I thought for some reason the 360 version was better.
No.
Okay.
They had way more issues, especially at launch.
It's 2 discs, isn't it? 2?
Yes, I believe
No,
the
no,
360, isn't it?
Single disc.
Huh. Okay.
Oh, it might be the 2-disc version with Undead Nightmare.
Oh, okay.
That might be 2.
You know, you just reminded me. I did have one crash, or one time I was forced to exit the game, and it was when you raid Fort Mercer after you've killed everybody inside, and then you get back on the wagon and you defend the fort from another attack. I had an instance where there were 2 NPCs that I could not shoot and could not see and were not dying, and I could not progress the mission, so I had to reboot the console and come back in and do the whole mission over again.
Oh, damn.
That sucks.
Yeah, it did suck. But that's the only crash that or hiccup that I experienced like that.
I actually got to a point in the game, I'm trying to think what happened, but something fucked up. I couldn't skin anything. I couldn't get back on the horse. Like it was like almost like they removed the triangle function. Like it wasn't working. So I had to close out the game, reboot it back up.
You triangled too much.
I don't know what it was.
You triangled.
It was in the
too
same
hard.
area. It was in the snowy area. I remember that as well.
Tall trees, I think.
Something happened there. Maybe there's some issues in general in that part of the game.
I had one freeze. I can't remember where it was at. I just remember having to restart the game once. I think it was like right after a cutscene. I forget though.
It's when you bought that night with a hooker,
May have been it.
the lady of the night.
Yeah, speaking of which, like the first property I bought was the burlesque house.
Yep.
And I was like, well, am I going to earn any funds from owning this building? And
You bought the room. You didn't buy the building.
yeah, well, I know that now.
Well, actually,
but,
that's true.
yeah.
They're
But I mean, that was a big thing in Vice City. You buy properties and earn money over time. I
That's
think
because you're building an empire, though, in that game.
Okay.
This isn't really that. This is literally just like buying beds.
Yeah, I found there was like a lack of things to spend your money on that was worthwhile.
A lot of the weapons, you don't need to buy them unless you wanted them early.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
don't need to buy ammo because you can just restock.
Yeah.
I don't think I ever bought ammo.
Yeah, on my completionist, if John Marstett would make it to like now, he'd be a millionaire. I think I have like 10 grand.
Nice. Apparently, if you hunt and skin a bear and then take it to Mexico, you get $100 for all the parts.
Yeah.
Better than tall trees or what
Yep.
have you. So you could do like 3 hours of hunting and then fast travel to Mexico and make some money. But you don't need to spend it.
Bet it all on a hand of poker.
Ooh,
Like-
there
like-
you go.
Yeah, I guess.
No, so
but,
I
like,
think that's what mainly the money is really there for.
poker.
Is like the games, because like stuff costs money. Like fast traveling costs money if you use the stagecoaches, things like that.
Yes. I don't know. It's like you're earning this money. It didn't feel like anything worthwhile to spend it on, though. It's like
It'd be cool if you could like add things to your ranch at the end. Then, but it doesn't. There is nothing to spend the money on, in my opinion.
All right, let's sound.
Yeah, we're off topic for graphics. So let's get into sound music.
Music.
I honestly don't have much to say. I think what they have here is really just like it fits the Western style. I didn't think any of the sound effects or anything of that were like really out of place. I think the voice acting was pretty good. I wouldn't say it was absolutely amazing by any stretch.
Who falls short? It just didn't blow you away.
It just didn't blow me away. It didn't it just didn't hit
Okay.
to me. Like, I don't know. I think it's fine, and I would even actually say I think it's good. I just don't think it's like over the top amazing. It's not like an Uncharted, where like Uncharted's voice acting's incredible.
This
me.
is way before Ashley Birch was involved, so
Sure.
You're right. She'd been a great Bonnie McFarlane.
I do want to agree with Clark on that, though. I didn't think it was an amazing feature. Now, what made it subpar, in my opinion, though, like when you're doing the rides where you're going on like a stagecoach and there's just dialogue, it's not like a, you know what I mean? Like
During a mission, or when you're on,
or maybe when you're traveling to a mission.
Did you actually ride the whole thing out?
A lot of those I did.
Really?
I didn't want to miss any important dialogue, so I sat some of those out. But here's the problem with it. So they have a audio clip where it's banter back and forth. When they're talking, it doesn't feel like a natural delays. It's like as soon as somebody finishes a sentence, there's an immediate response without like any thought or, let me think of, like, you know what I mean?
Sure,
like,
okay.
Line after line after line without any hesitation, which I felt was very odd to begin with. And then let's say you have this audio file to play out the conversation where they're talking about a bear. And then they jump topic to talk about, for example, I don't have an
A dog,
example.
yeah,
A
no,
dog.
yeah.
But there's no delay in between audio clips. Like, here's conversation 1, here's conversation 2. They're bumped up right next to each other. There's no delays in either part of the it feels unnatural when it comes to conversations in the game.
I think to interject here as well, I totally agree with that. I would after my first stagecoach ride, I was like, there's nothing here. I'm never going to do this again. That is one thing that I think they learned from this game, because in like something like GTA 5, like if you get into a cab to go somewhere, all the cabbies are different. And they all like, there's just like, there's some stereotypes for sure, but they all have a different personality. And I thought that was kind of interesting. This, I feel like it's the same fucking stagecoach driver at every fucking stop.
If it was just from traveling on a stagecoach, I skipped all those. There's nothing there that you're going to miss. If it's in a mission, though, I would obviously not skip to the destination.
I didn't do generic stagecoach rides. I'm talking specifically like missions.
Oh, sorry.
where
Mission-related.
they are talking the dialogue.
Okay.
But there's those scenes when they're like, do you want to fast travel to where the mission begins? But there's this, no, you're going to be riding in the buggy until you get then, or you're riding in a pack of horses,
shotgun. Yeah.
or like those. But it felt weird. The whole conversation.
Yes, yeah. Because I think it's the same. I don't think it matters if you're doing that for a mission or not. I think the stagecoach dialogue is roughly the same.
Okay. Now, on the other flip side, does anybody else want to say anything of voice acting?
Yeah, I wanted to talk about the
go
main
ahead.
guy. I want to talk about Rob Wythoff, I think is how you say his name.
Was he the one that played John Marston?
Yeah,
Marlston?
John Marlborough.
Or Marston?
Marston.
John Marlborough. Marlborough Man.
I hate this fucking Marlston game. Red Dead Redemption. Harry, are you all right? Harry's having a stroke, guys. Bury me with my moon A. That's it. Wrap the podcast up. We got to get Harry to the hospital.
Thanks for tuning in. Bye. The main voice actor who voiced John Marsden, Rob Wythoff, this was like his first major gig. He had apparently been trying to break into voice acting for a while, and it just didn't go anywhere. And he had this audition, and he didn't know what it was for, and he did it, and he got the part, and he found out later that it was for a video game. He didn't follow up Red Dead with any kind of like major success or anything like that. He just sort of like retreated back to his life at home and like had like a ranch. He's not doing like a character voice. That's how he talks. That's his voice. So to me, I take it as a very organic and natural performance from him.
That's pretty cool.
Harry's making weird eyes. I wanted to say that he's returning for Red Dead 2, and I'm looking forward to that. To me, the highlight for the voice acting is John Marsden. Everybody else, I think, is good. I don't think Abigail's anything special. I actually don't like Jack all that much.
I hate Jack.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
In general, I hate Jack.
You just don't like Jack at all.
No.
Okay. And like when you go from playing John Marsden riding a horse, going from one point, and then you get on in your jack, and he's just like, "Giddy up, yeah, like, yeah."
Let's
I don't
go,
like any
hag.
Of, yeah, I don't like any
ugh.
of. I don't like any of his voice work. Harry, why are you making faces at me for saying I like John Marsden?
So when I think of good voice acting, I think of being able to change the tone. If there's like you know what I mean? Like, but
Okay.
everything that he says in this game sounds like he's giving a speech. Hey, good morning, everybody. Like every sentence has an exclamation point at the end of it. There's nothing where he's just like talking like a light tone, or everything is like this huge fanfare of I don't know. It just seems like it's all stage play. Like you know when people.
I think there's some nuance to his performance.
Ooh, I didn't see it or hear it.
I mean, not if you're in the middle of a gunfight and he's saying like, "Bill Williamson, come out now!" Like you're not going to get that. But like when he's talking to his family, or when he's talking to like the marshal, that some of the interior stuff, like his tone is different.
It's a calmer tone because of a lot of other conversations that he has is when they're out riding or you're traveling to somewhere else and he's yelling at the people because that's basically what you would have to do. So the majority of the time that you actually hear him say anything, he's yelling. But when you get into some of the actual story plots, like Ralph said, when he's sitting talking with the marshal, or like when he's having conversation with Bonnie, or when he's, conversation with the family, it does come off differently where it's toned down.
I didn't pick up on that.
Okay.
It seemed like everything was an announcement.
Okay. I don't want to beat a dead donkey, but imagine John Marsden talking to Uncle, and then imagine him talking to Bonnie. Do you feel he'd use the same tone for that?
I feel like he's still using the same voice, as in like.
But that's his voice.
But it always sounds like he's speaking through a megaphone or something like that. Like
he's straining.
Maybe
No?
I don't.
Okay. All right.
It just I don't know. That's how I perceived his voice acting. It always just seemed like a show.
Okay.
Steve, how do you feel about the voice acting and stuff?
Pretty much just kind of nailed that one with John. The rest of the voice acting, it was okay. It wasn't anything that really made me go, wow. But I wouldn't say that it sucked either. It was okay.
I saw that poster of Nigel West Dickens you've got in your bedroom. I know how much you liked his performance.
Really?
Is that part of his spank bank?
Yeah, Nigel West
Dickens.
Wow.
Sniper Wolf.
You are really reaching for that one round.
Ava.
Really reaching for that.
Yeah,
I mean, I
I
think
know.
like the music itself, there wasn't really too much to it. You had...
Oh, we're not on music.
No, go ahead. I'm sorry.
We alty
No, he said Ava. I just want to point that out. He said
I get it
Ava.
wrong every time.
Every
Aya.
time. It's Aya.
Put him in his place, Harry.
We called him out in the Parasite Eve episode too, and here we are.
Yeah,
30 episodes. Wow, 40 some episodes. Wow, almost
Later,
50 episodes later.
But I don't talk about it every episode.
Only every
Aya.
third.
Aaliyah, I got it.
But it was only like, I don't know, just like background music as you're going around. You did mention with when you're over into Mexico, there is like a different theme to it.
Jose Gonzalez has this song "Far Away" that plays as soon as you like cross into Mexico and you start heading. Once you've gotten off the raft or whatever.
Yeah, but there wasn't really like too much that really stood out. The only other thing I thought cool was the fact that you could hear the cougars before they came up and started like tearing your horse apart.
Yeah,
Goddamn cougars always hanging out at the bars.
you do have to watch out for them.
Oh yeah.
So battle time. We're gonna move into final thoughts.
No, we're talking about music. I didn't even get to music yet.
We all just talked about music, right?
No, we talked about voice acting.
The one
I covered the music in mine like already.
Good.
I had one bullet point I did want to talk about with music though.
Yeah.
Bill Elm, Woody Jackson, they actually had 14 hours worth of music over 15 months of actual production time.
I found that too, and also that they all the songs use the same time signature and are in A minor key. That way, it can organically transition whatever's happening. The music can just boom shift into now you're in a gunfight. Ooh, okay,
check
now
that
you're
out.
not, or you're this or that. Like it tonally will shift, and the music will change based on what is happening within the game. I did want to say that.
Ralph's Music Minute.
We haven't had one of those in a while.
No, we
Yeah,
haven't.
I know this is about to happen.
You know, obviously, it's inspired by the music of westerns of the past, and Ennio Morricone was a big influence on them. I think that they sort of modernized that sound, and I think that the music fits perfectly with what they were going for, and I think they did a fantastic job. Also, Woody Jackson sounds like a character that belongs in the game, doesn't he?
There's a snake in my boot.
Doesn't sound like a real name. He's also worked on Undead Nightmare, obviously, LA Noire, Max Payne 3, GTA 5, and he'll be working on Red Dead Redemption 2.
So he's a Rockstar guy.
He is, yeah, just like the
He's a
Rockstar! Main Rockstar music guy. I think they knocked it out of the park.
I think the music was good. I like the songs with lyrics when they would chime in. Those were good.
I like 2 out of the 3. I don't really like the song that plays when you finally head home. I don't think it's all that great. It fits what they're going for. It fits the mood. I really like when you get to Mexico, far away, the song that plays. And then once John Marsden has been buried, the "Oh, bury me not on the lone prairie." I thought that song was good and fitting. Obviously, they didn't write those songs; somebody else did. But it fits. I like that it's in the game.
I would have loved like Ecstasy of Gold when you go as Jack to avenge your father.
That would have been fitting.
Yep.
We're going to transition into final thoughts. I don't really like that. Let's get into final thoughts.
I like the first one better.
Let's transition from male
we didn't have any fun transitions.
No, we didn't. Huh.
It's not my
I say
thing.
it's the quality of the host.
I would say that too. It's not my thing.
Let's shoot our way into final thoughts.
Let's whore our way into final thoughts.
To be completely open for final thoughts.
Let's spread eagle into
Let's giddy up into final thoughts.
Let's drip into final thoughts.
All of these are staying. None of these are being cut.
Dig
All
it.
right.
Final thoughts.
I'm not going to point at anybody. Let's just, whoever wants to speak about your final thoughts, go.
My thoughts are warm and cozy about this game. Now, this is one where I could just sit there and play for hours on end and stay up until 2:30 in the morning, not wanting to go to bed, having to go to bed, go to work the next day, and just think about coming home and playing the game. That's pretty much where this game sits with me. And I cannot wait for number 2. Not Poop, the second game.
Just to clarify.
In case you were wondering.
Hey, I didn't want any confusion, okay?
I think this game, when it came out, blew the doors off of what you could do with open world games. That being said, now it pales in comparison to like something like GTA 5, because GTA 5 is just an incredible game as well. However, I will say that this game, whatever your thoughts are on the story, the gameplay is there. It is an incredibly fun game to just get lost into for hours, like you were saying, Steve. And I really honestly think that it's probably one of the better games we've reviewed on the podcast.
All right. I think this game has its moments that really shine. But when I get in, like when I start investing myself in the game, then all of a sudden there's one of these bullet points I mentioned pulls me out. And then I start getting back invested in the game again, and boom, there's another one of these bullet points I talked about that pulls me out of the moment. And it just, overall, I think the experience could have been there, but there was just so many things that let me down with this game that I don't have a very favorable opinion when it's all wrapped up. Not saying there are those moments where I think, like the ending, minus a couple gripes, I think it was a pretty strong ending. I don't know. Just, I think overall, just sum it up, my run through was kind of lackluster.
I have a question for you. If the core game, the main story mission, was like half of the time, instead of 20 hours, it was 10 hours, and they moved some of that stuff into side quests and stuff like that, would that have been more your appetite?
Maybe. It might have encouraged like exploring and farting around a little bit more and just doing like random stuff, but
because you did pretty much just the main story with some of the side stuff.
Yeah,
you didn't
for the
get
most
too
part.
exploratory with it.
But I mean, when it comes to main missions, like I feel like I know a lot of people will say, hey, like the side stuff is like where it's at with this game. But I mean, when there's a main story in the game, and if like I can't, like I have to challenge that first. And if that doesn't pass the test, like I can't give it credit for the side stuff. Like the main portion is, you know what I mean? Like you don't praise a meal for the mac and cheese on the side when the whole turkey breast kind of sucks. I don't know. That's weird.
turkey
Wow.
breast.
Yeah, you're fine.
Analogy,
No, it's
but-
fine. Yeah, definitely leave that in, please.
You need some. You need some
It's going to
gravy.
lose points in his debate of this. Everyone's going to be like, well, he's foolish.
Those words exactly. Foolish.
All right, Ralph.
I want to say, almost as a rebuttal to what Harry is saying, I think the way to experience this game is to do a mission, do a stranger bit, play a game of poker, go on a hunt, do a bounty, do another mission, that kind of thing. To spread it out, to space it out, to give yourself more time to really enjoy and take it all in. Now, I took almost 2 years to beat Breath of the Wild, and I felt like I really took it in. This game, I beat over the course of a summer, and it's very personal to me. It was just like this weird, end of college was done. I was transitioning in my life. I played Red Dead, and it was just like the last
male to
hurrah. Yeah, from male to female. This was like this last hurrah of gaming purity. I don't know. I can't. It's so weird for me to try to put into words. Forgive me. I see a couple flaws in the game, but I just don't care. I love this game. I love almost everything about it. I'm so thankful that I got to play it when I did, when it was new. I can't wait for the sequel. It's so detailed and so well done, and I really feel that it just resonated with me so hard at that time when I played it, and I can't ever look at it in a bad way. I'm completely biased, completely nostalgia, all the way. Hit the gush alarm. Gush! It's all there.
It's all over the seat.
I love this fucking game.
I have a question. When we do final thoughts, is it like the thing now to just wring your hands out in front? You were doing it, and now you did it.
Did I?
Yeah, you literally both.
My
sat there
hands
and
are
were just
sweaty. They're sweating.
It's
It's like
disgusting.
it helps me channel
Just
or
fucking
focus.
love this game. If you're not spitting on it a little bit, it's not funny.
And
All right.
dry.
With that sweet release, let's move into the score.
The score.
I ain't never seen a man with such a dry pecker. Can I help? Guys never get that one. It's fucking quotes, man.
Nope.
All right, guys. Shoot
gets-
your score all over.
Your face.
Yeah.
No. This gets an A. Hands down, and that's an easy A. That's it. I don't need to
easy.
elaborate. Here, that's my score. Take it.
I'm going to give this 6 headshots out of a revolver in Deadeye. It's such a satisfying thing.
I put a blood-stained crater in Edgar Ross's face at the end of the game.
I'm going to give it a 5.5, which ties with Majora's Mask.
Ralph's heart just exploded.
Yeah. It's above average, but not by much.
Giving this game a 100%. Good night, everybody. That is my full score.
Damn.
That's it.
That is the entire score.
I give it 110%. Fuck it.
Also, if you disagree with any of our scores, please leave us a comment on our Facebook group.
Oh, yeah, go right ahead. Yeah, I don't care.
Oh yeah? We're going to do it for this episode, huh?
Find us on Instagram if you want.
Doesn't it say on the post with all of our scores to, hey, if you think
One butt plug.
that was it,
I already have mine in.
Butt plugs?
we could just edit
butt
around
plugs. Butt plugs?
the salt
plugs.
the salt over here.
Yeah, spark plug. What kind? Butt plugs, please. Butt plugs?
Salt butt plugs.
Oh, sounds terrible.
No one knows about them. Okay.
All right, guys, join us now.
Yeah. I'm getting there. All right, guys, we have redeemed ourselves. That has been Red Dead Redemption. Thanks for tuning in. Our next episode will be
Inside you.
a deep look inside, you could say. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge, wink, nudge, wink, wink, nudge. Okay. It's inside the indie game. Thanks a lot. We appreciate you tuning in.
Thanks again, Eric.
Eric,
Thank you again.
Yeah,
thanks so
thank
much,
you.
Eric. Really, we appreciate it.
Thank you, everyone. I love you.
Fuck!
Fuck! You thought I wasn't going to?
Yeah, I fucking hate it. Season 3, fucking get off that shit.
Why? Why can't he say that?
It's... I don't know.
I know why Harry doesn't like it.
Because Harry's afraid of love.
He is.
Yeah.
yeah.
I have a cold heart.
You're just
Like, you just said that to 3 other dudes.
He doesn't like free love.
No, he doesn't.
Pay for that shit.
Yeah.
Buy it? Yeah, I guess. Thanks a lot. Have a good night.
Stevie loads in Harry's butt.
Thanks for listening to Super Fun Game Review Podcast Go. Stay up to date on our Facebook at facebook.com/superfunpodcast.